Okay, so you've made your phone holder. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some text to the front. We're going to engrave it in there, and you'll end up with something like that. Okay, now to do that, it's going to require some constraint knowledge. And I will say the text tool on OnShape is kind of bulky and messy. One of the more kind of finicky tools to use here. But what we want to do is we're going to start by clicking the sketch button. Okay, so what we do is we come over here. What pops up? A mini window. See this mini window here? And then what we're going to do is it's saying we want sketch plane. What plane do you want your sketch in? All right, last time we picked front, top, or right plane. This time we're going to pick this face of the board of the print as our sketch. And see, look at that. Face of side profile extrude. Remember we saved the name as side profile extrude 2 inches. Okay, well, it knows that that's the face of that, and that's where we're going to be sketching. Okay, now that we have that selected, we know we're going to sketch on this. So if we were to click line, all the lines will show up only on this face. It's not going to show up anywhere else. I'll show you that real quick. So I've got these lines, and it will, I guess, show up off the face, but it will not show up in any other plane. Watch as I rotate this. See what I mean there? All right, it's not going to go any other direction as far as depth-wise. Okay. It's going to go right there. So what we want to do, we're in sketch 1, face of profile, and we're going to enter this, hit that, turn that text button on. Okay, and I'm just going to select corner to corner. Okay, and then I'm going to type my name, Matthew. All right, and then I'm just going to hit check. All right, now here's what happens. My name is too big for this block, and it popped up as red. What red means is it's overdefined. And basically, I'll give you an example of that. We're going to go back to this and just watch here as I go into this. And let me think here. So we said this has to be 70 degrees, this line. Remember, we were given that line rules to follow. Now watch. I'm also going to tell it has to be 70 degrees and perpendicular. It turned red. Red means stop. There's too many rules. This is impossible. You can't be 70 degrees and perpendicular at the same time. Not possible. Red. All right. Now, what did we do wrong over here, though? Because we just selected corner to corner and then it came up red. Well, the text is too big for it to be possible to go corner to corner. So what we're going to do, I'm going to hit that show constraints check bar, and I'm going to select this constraint, and I'm actually going to just hit backspace so that it deletes. And look, now we're blue. Now I can control some things. Now I can make it shift. And so now I can bring this and I can drag it and I can move it. And that other corner is still locked in place because it's still constrained. I could delete it and then this thing would move all over the place. Okay, this constraint just says, hey, the bottom of my name needs to be horizontal with the bottom of the block. All right, so now that we've got that situated, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make it so that this corner is coincident with that edge. And I know it's coincident because it kind of highlighted gold and said that. And then when I was done clicking with show constraints checked off, I can see that it's right there. Now, I'm not crazy about having it at the bottom because it just makes the bottom a little rough. So I'm actually going to delete this constraint here. And actually I'm going to delete that constraint there as well because I just want it to be higher up. Now I should be able to take this and drag it up and down. Now the click and drag test doesn't always work, but if you're running into where you're selecting too much, you can hide stuff. This is hiding things. All right. And then I should be able to bring my name up. There we go. Okay, now it's moving. Now I'm going to show you this again. It's not going to move depth-wise. It's always going to move. See how it's still in line with that plane? All right. So that's going to take some trial and error. Just goof off with it. You're only messing with pixels here. But what I'm going to do, while you get that figured out, you can pause it if you need to. But I'm going to go ahead, if you're there, and I'm going to connect midpoint to midpoint. See that little symbol that popped up? right next to where I'm about to clip. All right. There's no symbol. Well, there's the coincident symbol. That just means the end has to connect to the line. But when I get right in the middle, see that? It's a dot in the middle of a line. That means that this line has to be a middle line. Now we're going to take this line and we're going to turn it into one of those construction lines again. Okay. So it's one of those construction lines. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Ooh boy. And I'm going to make this line and this line vertical. Oopsies, not vertical. We're going to make it coincident. That way, the end of this line always has to be on the end of this line. All right, see that? So now we're good. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, let's see here. Sometimes midpoints are kind of hard to select. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. There might be another way to do this, but this is what I'm going to do it. Up here on your 2D sketch bar, I'm going to hit point. The point button is on. I can now add points everywhere. I can give my whole file chicken pox. All right, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to undo all those points, and I'm going to hover down here until I get that midpoint symbol again. Okay, that's going to put a point there. I'm going to hover over here and do the same thing. Now I'm going to say you and you have to be concentric. That's a new one, but it means just what the symbol is saying. The circles have to be centered on top of each other. Boom, it's black. We're good to go. Okay, so that might take some trial and error, but take your time with it. You'll get it figured out. All right, I'm going to view it right at it. Okay, you can see the constraints that I use. You can also, if these constraints get troublesome and crowded, you can drag them so they're easier to view. Remember, when you hover over them, it tells you what the constraint's doing. And now I'm going to go back into 3D toolbar, and I'm going to have my name. And right now it wants to Matthew at me. Okay, so I'm going to click these arrows so that it goes in the opposite direction. And look, now it wants to cut Matthew in. We don't want to cut Matthew in that deep. So I'm actually just going to take this. I'm going to go 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. All right, and then boom. Uh-oh, what happened? Let's see here. We went in 0.1/8 of an inch, and here's what happened. Remember when I told you that this was like a step-by-step mini window if you look at it carefully? Well, it is. Here it's extruding. Here it's asking if we're doing a solid or a surface, and we're doing a solid. And then here it's asking, is this going to be new material? Are you adding material to the part? Are you removing the material to your part, or is there like an intersection of material going on? We typically use these three mostly, but we are wanting to remove it. Now it's going to actually cut it away, and look at that. It made it disappear. Now, I've broken my own rule here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that, and I'm just going to rename that text removed 0.125 inches. Okay, and so that will just tell me that it's that much. And then here I'm going to rename this text sketch, and we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and go into some other features we can do. Okay, one thing that I always recommend when 3D printing is that these corners are a concentration of a lot of heat. So it melts plastic, and when you get a lot of plastic in this one spot right here, it typically causes that heat to warp this plastic up. So it's hard to get a flat corner. So we're going to do what's called filleting. All right, now fillet is a common term. You may remember on your cheese board, you either put a chamfer or fillet around the edge of it. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to fillet the stuff that's going to go on that base. Now look at that. It automatically curved it for us. We can make that curve bigger. Okay, or we can make it smaller. I'm going to leave it at 0.2 just because I don't want to mess up my name too much. All right, and then I'm just going to click the corners that I want filleted. All right, I'm just going to do those 4 corners and call it good. So there you have it. That's how you put your name on it. If you finish this up ahead of time and you've got time for whatever reason when you're watching this video, feel free to play around, explore on OnShape. If you want to make a copy of this, it's pretty simple to do. Just come down here and duplicate. And let's say you want to make a copy because you're like, wow, that fillet tool is pretty cool. I want to play with it some more, but I don't want to mess up my file. Yeah, just make a copy and then goof off, go crazy. You can explore this stuff. Here's chamfer. What's chamfer do? And you can start clicking on things and modifying your piece and checking it out. So thank you for watching the second part and looking forward to seeing you soon.